And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, now Heth actually, I didn't talk about it, but Heth was a Hittite. He was a Hittite. He says, hear us, my Lord, thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres, bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre, but that thou mayest bury thy dead. So it's evident here that Abraham had a good relationship with these Hittites. And you might think, these are pagans, these are heathens. We hate pagans and heathens. They all should go to hell. But Abraham didn't treat them like that. I mean, he's a good example of how we should treat non-believers today. If at all possible, get along with them. Abraham, no doubt, he was called a mighty prince, or in the Hebrew it means prince of God, by these people. He was respected by these Hittites. No doubt they saw his work ethic, they saw his honesty, his integrity in his dealings with them. We're going to find out that he actually respected their culture. And there was something even deeper than this. Genesis chapter 14, verses 13 and 24 says that Abraham was confederate with him in this battle that they fought against. I think it was the one of the kings of Canaan, I think. You'll have to check out. But you'll find out that he was actually confederate with these people that were non-believers, so to speak. So let's see here. Now, think about this. If Abraham was a shady character, they told him, hey, go ahead, you can bury your wife, no problem. They have a good relationship here. If Abraham was a shady character and was rude to them and didn't appreciate that they allowed him to sojourn in their land, they would have never responded like this. And we can think of it today in our places of work, wherever we go, is to think and be like Abraham. If you claim to be a Christian and you're walking around acting very bitter and just I'm trying to think of the words, but just unchristian-like, that's not going to set a good example. As Christians, we should be respected even among non-believers, as far as the non-believers that are not opposing you. I'm not saying that we should go shake hands with the LGBTQ movement and say, hey, we're right with you, we support you, or anything like that. There is a time for getting along to get along, and then there's a time for war. And we are to oppose liberal institutions and the liberal agenda. We're not supposed to be friends with them. But individual liberals, if we work with them and we deal with them, then we treat them with respect. We're honest with them. We're fair with them, and things like that. We don't just look at them and say, you liberal, you piece of crap, I'm not talking to you, or something like that. That's just not gonna do anybody any good. It's not gonna be good for God's kingdom. I could think of Jesus. Some people would take this too far and say we're supposed to really just get along with the heathen, But there was a time when Jesus actually provoked the Pharisees to open spiritual warfare. He did things to get them to fight against him. Like he purposely would do some healings on the Sabbath and things like that. So the point is, these were non-believers that were allied with Abraham. They got along. I don't like to use the word coexist because that's got a bad, bad taste. But Jesus, when there was a time to make, like Ecclesiastes chapter 3 says, there's a time to mourn, and there's also a time for war. And being that the Pharisees had set themselves up and the damage they were doing to set themselves up as the teachers and the authorities of God, they were doing so much damage that it was time to declare war against them. All right, verse 7. I could also think of the time when Jesus went into the temple to cleanse the temple. He wasn't about just to be nice. He wasn't about being nice and cordial with the money changers in the temple. He actually planned that out and actually sat there and made a whip. I think it had 9 whips on it. So it was premeditated. He sat and thought about it. Okay, I'm going to make this whip, and I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to start swinging that whip around and tossing tables over. But at this time, this wasn't the right time for Abraham to do that.